Welcome to the Lumber Lounge and Garage. We are back at Bob's Turn 5 here at Port City Raceway. Shane Stewart and myself, Snow Giddings.
Yo.
We're looking at making sure we got good sound. Please let us know if there's an echo. You can see that gray right there? That means that it is off. We should not have an echo.
Oh.
We had an echo at the beginning of the deal last week. Let's make sure we got all of our sharings and all that going.
Somebody will tell us.
Oh, absolutely. While you're waiting for us to share, you guys share if you're already on here. I think we're going to have a good show tonight.
Yes.
I know he doesn't want to talk about himself, but we're going to talk about him. It was time to. We always talk about Port City. We always talk about what goes on here and your aspect on sprint car racing and racing in general. But we haven't actually had a chat with Shane.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't think you're happy.
It's all good. It's all good.
So, whoa. Woody said we're good. I knew Woody'd be here. I love that guy.
He's dedicated, man.
Man, I'm telling you, he is definitely the one that makes sure that we're on top of it.
I have some drainage issues around my track, and because we get everybody's runoff, right? All the businesses around us. So he came out and checked out all my problems, and he's like, mate, all you need to do is this and that, and so I've been talking to him a few times, but he's helping me out a lot. So
he told me he's going to ask you some questions tonight.
All right, fair enough.
So anyway, as we always do,
cheers.
Welcome to the Lumber Lounge and Garage JST Motorsports Bench Racing live shows. Brought to you by all these beautiful sponsors that I tagged. You obviously see the rolling screen right there. I probably need to add some more. But if you want to be a part of that little deal down there in the bottom, hit me or Shane up, and we can get you hooked up. So
Absolutely.
Cheers to you.
Cheers, man.
Let's have a good show.
Yes, sir.
We didn't really. It's kind of weird with us. Like we don't plan out we might figure out 2 days before who we're going to have on the show. And, And I was sitting there and was talking to Woody, and Woody was like, "Oh man, I want to know more about Shane," and which Shane, Woody that's what he likes. He'll call me tomorrow morning. And he'll talk to me about the show and critique me and you and just, hey, I think you make it better. And my dad does the same thing after he watched it on YouTube. So shout out to Woody for convincing me to actually talk about Shane. Pretty excited about it. But before we get into you, obviously we got to talk about racing because that's what we always do.
We finally had some racing. Poor High Limit, they've been getting smoked with rain.
Getting smoked by rain, but then smoking the Outlaws.
And then smoking the Outlaws. Big time.
Cody
Jacobs been quiet.
Yeah.
I saw Chaz. He posted something pretty funny the other day about dressing up incognito and then walking around all the cameras and telling them that they got to take down their high limit flags or banners at the outlaw races.
I've seen that.
Oh, I was like, oh man, stir the pot, man.
And he's so good at stirring the pot. I mean, love him or hate him, people still watch him.
But no, man, the high limit guy's been beating up the outlaw.
Yeah, so
we'll struggle a little bit.
Yep. So we actually had quite a bit of racing this weekend. I didn't write it down, but I'm pretty sure Midget Week was really not Midget Week.
No.
I think they only got 2 races in. But local boy, Cale Drake wins Indiana Midget Week. Takes home $15,000.
That's good.
Or whoever gets it. He had a little altercation on the track with Mr. Robert Ballou in the sprint car at Kokomo.
That was him. I saw Ballou's post, but I wasn't sure who was in the other sprint car.
I'm devil's advocate, right? Or just outside looking in, however you want to say it. Blue's mad, but Blue gets mad.
Yeah.
I've been friends with Blue for a long time. You've known Blue for a long time. Yeah. First time I seen Robert Blue, he flipped out of the ballpark at Oskaloosa. Anyway, I mean, Blue got up in the cushion and sucked the right front over.
And he slowed down.
And it let Kale just get to him.
Yeah.
And they bumped. And then, I mean, he didn't flip, but because
because
it was a gnarly cushion. They've had a bunch of rain.
Yeah.
So they had a little spat, and of course, Robert Blue fashion gets on socials, which is fine. Like I remember him and Brady, they did those when him and they were going at it, and they both
funny.
did shirts like against each other.
Yeah.
Brady the Bulldozer, or Baloo was the Bulldozer, or something like that. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and they probably did okay.
Yeah.
But no, Blue's always been pretty vocal
on
social media.
Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just
it's easy to get on there and run your
easy.
mouth
And it's I mean, you gotta figure out how far you want to take it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think there is a limit to how far you can take it. So and then ASCS is back in action. We didn't actually talk about it last week, and we should have.
The race at Texarkana was darn good.
Oh, dude.
Darn good.
We'll go back to last week too, because we did not talk about it, but they had Hutch on Friday night, which Zach Blurton won.
Okay.
And then they had Dodge City on Saturday night, and Sam won that one, which that was the Steve King Memorial.
Yeah.
So it's back at Dodge City. And then, but kudos to Zach Blurton getting his second national tour win, but to get it at a place like Hutch for him and his family, I know was special because growing up with his dad running NCRA and, you know, everything that they've done throughout the state of Kansas. And I bet that was pretty special for him. I talked to him after the race, and I mean, they were pretty excited.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
those
but
are
he
hard
did what
races
you're
to win.
supposed to do at Hutch, right? Like, I don't know if you ever raced at Little Hutch or a Big
I
Hutch.
have. A long time ago, but
And
I
like
have.
you have to get like you have to be fast, be out front, and he did it right. He went quick time, or I don't know if he went quick time, but he started on the pole of his heat race, or no, he did go quick time. He went quick time, transferred out of the seat, drew the pole of the dash, wins the dash, and starts on the pole. And that's what you have to do at Hutch. And he did everything right, even with Sam behind it. Sam and Blake were hounding him, and he just held his line. So it was, and it didn't take rubber like normal, but it did take rubber. So. And it's Salt City Raceway now. It's not Hutch.
Salt City. Oh,
yeah, so the Hamilton family took it over. Mel Hamilton, Ford.
Man, that'd be a hard name to change.
So I didn't know that the reason it's called Salt City, because I guess there's a huge salt mine or something in Hutch.
I did
not know that. I thought it was all in Utah. But so that was we didn't get to talk. I forgot to talk about that last week. But this week they were at Texarkana on Saturday night, and what a race!
It was awesome,
dude. Tim Crawley and what they've done at that track, because I know you raced there when it was a shithole. I mean, the backstretch was the same level as the grass, and but kudos to Tim Crawley.
Finally got a race in,
dude.
It didn't rain.
I feel like he's been waiting 2 years for a race.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah,
you know, and what better somebody? Dude, Tim's so passionate about sprint car racing,
he is, man.
And
he just loves it.
Dude, and
he's on Facebook almost every day.
Doing
videos.
Every day.
I'm like, I text him, I'm like, dude, I said, how you have time to do all that? But no, you can tell he's just...
Well, so last year they had a Power I-410 race there, or Lee, whatever it was, and it was another last lap pass, and Moran passed Noah Gass for the win, and it's just, he knows how to make it racy.
Yeah, he does.
So,
he does.
But I think it's because he was fast there.
Yeah. He was fast there. Matter of fact, I know I never beat him or Gary Wright there. Gary Wright was good there too.
Dude. So I remember going there with Gary Lee one year. It was on Speed Week.
I think Gary Lee was good there too.
And Tim had to start the back of the B. Something happened in his heat race. I don't remember what it was. But he literally, because remember we used to take the mules out on the backstretch behind that little wall?
Yeah.
And so Tim would come off a 2 in the B main and go down, like out on the grass, and then jump back on the track in 3. And he won the B, and he did the same thing in the A, and he came back and beat us in the A.
He won the A?
Yeah. Wow. And he was doing the same. Like, he'd literally come off a 2, go down the grass, and just hop back on the track in the 3. Yeah. Oh, we already got our first question.
Oh, boy.
Woody, is it true Shane is going to be a baseball coach?
No. Jen wants me to be a baseball coach, but I don't have time. I don't. Like, obviously, during the games is one thing, but, man, you got to practice. And I just don't have time. I really don't. I wish I did. After what we went through on our last team, I wish I had time to do it, because if I invest my time, I will make sure that I do it the right way, and then other things will start.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll start taking away time for things that are more important. So,
well, I decided that when Luca was playing that I would be like an assistant just to help the coach, right? And but even that was a lot. Yeah. You know, I mean, like there were times where it was just me and the head coach at the games because some of the other dads couldn't make it because we had one who was a firefighter, so there's rotation and
So I wouldn't mind doing that, but I don't want to be that.
No, I don't want to be that coach. Just let me pitch.
I'm super competitive, so I don't know if I would be.
It's a fine line because there's times where I wanted to yell at some kids and I didn't want their dads to be mad at me.
I don't do baby very well. And Lane, like I'm fortunate because Lane's not really that. Especially when it comes to a little bit of the sports that he's done. I don't know, man. I think I would get myself in trouble with some parents.
Right.
Because I'm too competitive.
Absolutely. I'm the same way. So
there's no crying in baseball. Yep. What are we doing?
So Luca said he wants to play basketball.
Yeah.
Well, I played basketball through college. And like,
so you're good.
But like, I don't know if I want to coach him because I know how my dad coached me.
Yeah.
And my dad was hard on me, right? Like he was harder on me than anybody else. I mean, and I feel like that's how you're supposed to be as a coach's, whatever the son.
For
sure. Dude, I can't just spank my kid in the middle of the team, right? In front of the team, right?
No, you can't do that.
Even there was times I wanted to in baseball. But anyway, so if he wants to play basketball, I told him already, like, if you want to play basketball, well, I'll get you a ball and we'll start practicing here in the driveway. Because first thing you're going to do is learn how to dribble. And you're going to be the best dribbler.
Yeah.
Because I know you're not going to be tall. You're not going to be tall.
Yeah. Got to be a good dribbler.
Matt, we'll get to your question here in a minute once we finish talking about the racing. Please put in the comments the questions you want to ask Shane once we get done with all the racing stuff and info. Woody kind of got it started off there, and let's put him up here. I don't know if you can see him or not, Shane.
I can't.
You can?
I'm gonna have to get freaking glasses.
Anyway, so then we had World of Outlaws. Well, we got High Limit, right? Yep. So High Limit, they ran. Oh, where was it? They went to Wisconsin, and we had a first-time winner.
Oh, that's right. Dude, yeah, local
dude,
and he drove a great race.
Dude,
tricky track.
I swear, he was. His name is Travis.
Right?
Travis Aarons. Yep, Travis Aarons. It's shaped like a snow cone, and
great race.
Oh, it's a great race.
Yeah,
and he Billy Moyered the shit out of it.
He did.
He just right around about him. And Tanner was all over him, and Baylog was all over him.
Sunshine at the beginning.
Yep.
Like,
what a race.
Yeah, no.
What a race.
That was a great win. And then the cool part, he went and jumped in the big pond.
Yeah, I know. He was cold.
Which was fun.
Crowd's going wild.
Oh, yeah.
Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You know?
Where were they the night before? That was really good, too.
It was in Wisconsin.
Rico won.
Yeah, it was Butler, Michigan.
Yeah, that was a great race.
Butler, Michigan. Yeah, because that was.
That's right, Butler.
I've
raced there.
Yeah, so, and Larson was throwing some haymakers there at the end, but lap cars got in the way. But, man, that track was good, too. And Tanner, got fourth?
You know, the thing is, like, you turn on the TV, because I typically miss half of it. Turn on TV, you're like, oh, my gosh, this track's going to be junk.
Yeah.
You know, super dry.
Oh, I know. My wife's FaceTiming me.
And dude, both features
Stella,
in that.
No, get off mommy's phone. I'm on my show.
Both shows ended up being great features, so it's fun to watch.
So they were Butler. Yeah, they were great shows. Sorry, that was my daughter grabbing my wife's phone. My wife never FaceTimes me, so sometimes it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
So Sean Quinn, what's up? Ethan McDermott, what's up?
Yeah.
So
us, guys.
Again, we're gonna get to the questions here in a minute. So then we have the Outlaws. Of course, they go to where they got rained out.
Rained out. They were
in Wisconsin as well. No, they raced the same night as Butler, didn't they?
They did.
This is why we write this stuff down. We can look it up real quick. That's easy.
I know they had a rain out, and then they went to Cedar Lake, or not Cedar Lake,
Beaver Dam.
Yeah, Beaver Dam.
That was
a good
the
race.
controversial race.
It was. Gravel got a gift.
Dude, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
There's they were somewhere, because
I can't remember where they were before Beaver Dam.
Beaver Dam. You got to go back so far.
Oh, they were at Plymouth.
Plymouth, that's what it was.
Where Rico won. Yeah. Duh.
No, yeah, that was after 141.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Plymouth World of Outlaw. Yeah, Plymouth was June 6th. Yeah. So the high limit was early in the week, and then Friday was Plymouth. That's right. Okay. And now we're on track. Rico wins. Actually, the dash at Plymouth was 6 high limit cars and 2
Outlaw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. That's a tricky place too. Plymouth is.
Dude, it was a good race, though.
It was a great race.
It was a good race. Rico wins. Kofoid was up front. That was where Kyle's axle broke.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He took a pretty good one.
Yep. Yeah, my brother sent me pictures, and it was broke. Hi, sweetie.
Thank God
I'm sorry,
for fences.
We're on our live show.
Hi.
I love you guys. Good night, okay? All right. Did you get your motorcycle cleaned up? Okay. I love you. Good night. Okay. It's called a Stasic. Yes. I love you. Love you, sissy. I'm sorry, okay? Okay. I know you are. Love you. Bye. Yeah. So that my brother sent me pictures, and you could see where it broke off, and he has like a mud cover on the inside, which a lot of people run anymore. And
okay.
And you could see where it
on the inside of the left rear wheel,
right rear.
Oh, right rear. Oh, really? They're running mud covers there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, I have not seen that.
There's a few people doing it.
Yeah.
His looked steel and welded on, but who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it broke off right there. I mean,
on the left side,
right rear.
Oh,
the right rear broke. Yeah.
Oh, right rear broke.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought
Yep.
it was left rear. Okay.
So he took a nasty one up into the fence, but he was okay. But you still, like I said, Abreu won. Kofoid was up there, and then Tanner was up there again. Tanner's been having some runs, dude.
He's been good.
And
he's been good. He's figuring that car out.
Yes, and he said it in his interview the other night. He goes, Stevie's been crew chiefing this car from the phone, and which Stevie ran coils back in the day too, so that helps a bunch. So, and then we went to Beaver Dam, and Brad Sweet proved a point.
He did.
Or I'm not proved a point. It was a statement race, I think, because there's been a lot of trash talk coming from the David Gravel camp and Cody Jacobs. Obviously, everybody knows about it.
Right.
So I think High Limit proved that they're still right there in the top.
Absolutely.
But we've said it. We've talked about it. You take the top 3 out of each series, and High Limit still has a better talented field.
I still think Brad Sweet would be leading World of Outlaw points.
I agree with that.
Racing if they were all together.
I agree with that.
So, that's my opinion. But
Kelly Westfall said, "Hurry up and finish." That's what we should. Oh, it's a balancer. It's a wheel balancer.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Ethan said it was a balancer.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good question. This is not pretty new, but Ricky Bean with Bean Underground and Bean Electric, whatever.
Yeah.
He said Chili Bowl finals, Earnhardt Sr. or Gordon, who wins? I'm going to take Gordon.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Gordon.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't put it past Earnhardt Jr. to take out Gordon, but
both have got a lot of
talent. Trey Robb's on here. What's up, buddy? Sean Quinn. Connor Nelson, what's up? Slippy.
Oh, Slippy.
Yep. So then, man, was that all the racing we had? Oh, Huset's Knoxville, right? So Knoxville, Knoxville
show.
Well, Knoxville had a bunch of
awesome.
High limit racers.
Knoxville was a great race.
Sunshine wins, barely beats Corey Day.
Yeah.
Of course, Tim's was right there in the hunt
He
again.
was. Yeah. That car's fast.
Dude, they're so fast. And then they go to Huset's and spank their ass there.
He's comfortable there.
Here's why, and I wanted to talk to you about this tonight. It's because I feel like for a 410 wing sprint car, Huset's is like driving an outlaw car here.
Oh yeah, no, I would.
And so I think that's why Dason picked up there quickly. Yeah. Ryan's good there.
Yeah.
Brady's been good there in the past. You know what I mean? So I think I
agree with that.
That's kind of why.
Yeah.
So shout out to Ryan, man. I texted him last night and I was like, dude, great job, keep it up, and tell Marty he sucks. Oh, Marty Britton.
Good dudes, though. good team.
Oh, dude, they'll leave, and they're building that team around Ryan, and rightfully so. Right. I mean, they've got, I think 4 or 5 wins out of their last 5 or 6 races, and
it's going to come into the
I think
the heavy part of racing too.
We got Eagle tomorrow night.
It's going to start warming up. No rain. Eagle's going to be a great race.
Dude,
like
always.
Eagle is probably one of my favorite tracks. I wish we got to race there more. Last time I raced there, we had a really good race with Kyle, and Kyle ended up getting into one of Saldana's backup cars with Stenhouse.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And we won.
I remember that. Well, and then last year's high limit race there.
I was standing on the front straightaway. I'm looking at him like, dude, are you freaking serious? Like, you jumped in a car that you're never even like, and makes it look so easy. But it was a fun race. That's a really fun track. It's always been fun. We used to go there every year with the Outlaws.
Oh yeah, Eagle Nationals.
Ran I-80.
Oh, dude, I love I-80.
And Eagle.
I-80 is one of my favorite races that I.
Which is crazy. They're on the same exit off the highway.
You just go one way or the other.
Yeah, which is wild. Yep. But
no, Eagle's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they keep it up, and I'm glad that they run 305s weekly, but they've started to have more and more shows that are special shows, and
the place is packed.
The Eagle Nationals back in the day, with the Outlaws was always a phenomenal race. I mean, Joey Saldana in the Eagle Raceway car,
fast there.
Brandon Lewis, what's up, brother?
What's up, Brandon?
Sam Bradley, how are you? Thanks for joining us. If you guys are on here right now, please go out and share this live feed. Coming up this week, we do have Eagle tomorrow night.
Yep.
And then we have the World of Outlaws on Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
At Knoxville.
Oh, the Outlaws are at Knoxville. Yeah. Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
So 2 nights at Knoxville for the Outlaws. Is High Limit off? I think they're off. So you're probably going to see all them there.
I don't follow it like I should.
I think High Limit is off.
Port City is racing.
Port City is racing. Midgets, Power I West.
Power I West.
Power I West.
I do know that.
You actually got to race last Saturday amongst the rain.
Yes, we did. Yeah, and had a great race. Our track was super hard, which we knew it would be. It was slick, pretty slick. Man, we're getting it. Like we make mistakes here and there, but we once our event gets going, we're pretty good about keeping the track up and trying to make it 2 lanes as best we can.
Yeah.
Any track guy will tell you it's hard to make heat races great and features good.
Oh, I know.
Versa. But that part of it's been fun. I enjoy that side of it. I know it's stressful because we always want it to be perfect, and it rarely is. But the part that's leading up to the race and trying to figure out how much water and where to water and like that part of it, it's
and especially after all the rain we had last week.
Like, can't even take notes. That's what's crazy. Nope. It's like every week's just different.
Mm-hmm.
Just different.
Now, can you when racing, we'll go out and stick a screwdriver in it. I mean, do you do anything like that?
Nah. I mean, I've been around my track enough that I already know whether it's going to be good or bad. But no, I don't ever do any. The crew guys do, which is funny. I watch them do it.
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh boy, it's gonna be freaking sticky."
Yeah, I tell you what, we went to Creek and I was full on ready for Cowboy Up and heavy.
Yeah,
and it was slick.
Yeah,
but it was a good night. I went out there with Garth again. We had a good night.
That's good.
A little mishap in the feature. Finally getting there. I think we were like second quick in hot laps and went 5-3 in our heat race on the slick, which is tough at Creek, and then started 8th, and we were up around 4th or 5th battling, and then just track changed a little bit, you know what I mean? And he made a mistake, which he knows he did. And him and Tyler LaPointe got together, ripped our nose wing off, and had to go to the back, and he still came back up through there and run 8th. So
good. He'll get there.
Yeah, we're getting better. He's getting better, so enjoying doing that with him, and it's fun helping.
It's a good family.
Yeah, and it's fun helping the kids that are getting into it and trying to get going. So it's always a blast doing that. So
I know when they were race out here weekly, it was frustrating for them. I mean,
well, and that's what they said they're having fun now.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Scott Hall, what's up, my brother from California? Is that all the racing we got to talk about?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, next week, which we'll talk about it next Monday, but next week's the big race at Huset's.
Oh.
The big
one.
250. It's like $100,000 the first night and $250,000 the next night.
That's crazy.
So now
That makes me mad for getting out of sprint car racing.
we're gonna you gotta have more. Yep, you gotta have more fun. Yep, no matter what case. Before we get into the Shane Stewart segment, if you guys do follow the Lumber Lounge and Garage, we were able to release the new bench racing shirts. I have one with me tonight.
Turned out good.
So that's the sand color. That's the front, and then this is the back. And then the bench racing hats that we have in the gray and the black are back in stock as well. So please go to the Lumber Lounge.
I see a lot of these hats.
.com. Yep.
Just random places.
Yeah. Which is good. So if you want to purchase a hat, go to lumberlounge.com and support the cause, support the brand, support our show. Everything that we do, it kind of goes back into the show and helps us out, and so we can do other things. And because we're planning on doing some things where we actually go more places, like we're talking about doing Knoxville and doing all that. So that all helps with things that are coming. We also I found out today, and I mentioned it to you right before the show. We don't know how yet. We don't know. We got to figure out particulars. But you with the CAP program and the insurance, we had an anonymous donor say that he wants to give away 2 of the CAP programs to 2 individuals. So we're going to figure out how we can incorporate that. I don't know if it's going to be by a shirt or by a raffle ticket, whatever it may be. But it's a great opportunity for somebody to get the CAP program. If you just want to get the CAP program, it's $279 a year.
Yeah.
And it covers you up to $500,000 at a racetrack.
It's so worth it too.
It is so
worth it.
Every
driver should have it. Every single
driver, person in the pits. Yeah. Nicole Estes, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Heath Underwood.
Hey, Heath.
Yeah. Great track as always. Zach Rowell, what's up, brother?
What's up, Zach?
Zach had a really good weekend with the good weather.
I saw some of the posts. Dude,
I'm
I didn't get to see them all, but I did see a couple.
I'm jealous because I wanted to be there.
Yeah,
I wanted to be there to compete.
The weather worked out, so that was good.
Yeah, had a great turnout. I want to say Kaylin Carpenter finished top 5.
I saw that.
Her husband and stuff.
Yeah, on the little one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, and then they won a Ranger.
Yeah.
So I think that was 5th place. I think that's what Zach told us. But they did little chicken thighs or something. Yeah. It was So, so now we get into Shane.
Yeah.
I know you're excited about this. So we have talked a little bit about how you got started in racing. But for the people that don't know, that they see you as the guy that owns Port City, they know you used to race sprint cars.
Yeah.
What made you get involved in sprint car racing and racing in general? I mean, obviously I know, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so the racing bug was in my family, at an early age. And then what's funny is I see it in Lane now. But racing was pretty much all my family knew, right? We didn't seek out baseball or any type of sport growing up. Obviously, that side of it's changed a little bit, the way parents navigate the, whether it's soccer or baseball or whatever. But our deal was racing. My dad raced Tulsa Speedway, had a super modified back in the 70s. And he was the head pro at La Fortune Park,
which was so crazy to me when I found that out.
Most people don't. A lot of people don't know that. So he was a professional golfer for a long time, and then Mr. La Fortune passed away, and the city ended up getting involved with the golf course, and my dad just thought that it was going to be better off to do something else, so he bought Car and Fleet Parts.
Okay.
So he bought Car and Fleet Parts the year I was born, 1976.
Oh,
So my dad's been there almost 50 years.
Yeah, because
yeah,
I was showing your age.
I'm showing my age. Yeah. So my dad, Car and Fleet was really successful back then. I mean, they pretty much supplied all the garages around the Peoria area, obviously way before all the parts chains moved into town. But Car and Fleet was really popular back in the day. And then once the O'Reillys and things started coming into town, his deal kind of shifted to the speed shop. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why we could kind of do what we did. But anyway, we ended up getting a quarter midget. We ran a quarter midget at the Tulsa Quarter Midget Club, which is still right there on
Pine and Yale.
And Yale, and we had a Region 6, which was Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and we followed that little series, and we raced at Tulsa, and we pretty much raced every single weekend that we could. Obviously not in the winter, but
Right.
And then we became buddies with Pete Frazier. Pete Frazier was obviously Factor One, him and Jimbo. And I had the very first down tube Factor One that they built.
I did not know that.
Which was a junior sprint, or as a 125. So I got started in that and ran that a few years at Creek County, which Creek County at the time was pretty much brand new. Emmett and Fuzzy built that track, which was it was a small track then. And I raced out there pretty much my entire time in micros. I raced here a few times, which was Rujo at the time. And we traveled a little bit with the micro, but not a lot. From what I remember, Creek County was tough. Like I had, Pete Frazier and Dee Bradley and my race director Kip, Kip and his brother, and it was tough.
Yeah.
Tim O'Toole, and there was a lot of really good drivers that ran Creek County on a weekly basis.
So that's something I didn't know. I didn't know that it used to be smaller.
It did,
and that they ran micros there.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
When he built the track originally, it was just micros. It wasn't big enough for sprint cars.
Right.
So I went from the 125 to the 250. Back then, we didn't have 600s like we have now. They were 250 Rotex engines, and they ran good.
Yeah.
And we shifted. We pretty much shifted every race.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty common back then. And then our good friend of our family, Andy Hillenberg, was at that time racing the World of Outlaw Tour and decided to take a year off. He might have taken a year and some change. I can't remember. Off the World of Outlaw Tour to concentrate on the company side. And I don't know how it all went down, but him and my dad obviously got to talking, and Andy had all that equipment sitting there, and he said, why don't we try to put Shane in my sprint car and just see how it goes?
Yeah.
I was 14, 15. So I went from a 250 micro straight to Andy Hillenberg's World of Outlaw sprint car, right? So, I mean, what could go wrong? And so
there's a lot that could go wrong, but
that would have been 1990.
Okay.
90, 91. I ran Andy's car a few times at Tulsa, and then we ended up buying a lot of the stuff from Andy, and then my dad and I kind of started our own deal. And then, man, like we did what we could, right? Like, obviously, my parents aren't wealthy, but one thing my dad did teach me is good work ethics, and I could do everything on my car. I could take the engine apart, put it back together. I never was a good welder, but and I'm still not. But
right.
I could put together a car, take it apart, and those were some of the things that my dad instilled in me when we raced micros. And so we traveled around the Tulsa area whenever we could, when the Outlaws came into town or NCRA was around.
Yes.
And back then, you could keep yourself pretty busy.
Oh, dude. I remember my dad telling me back then, like, NCRA, because it was before ASCS, right? So NCRA, USAC, even when they'd come to town, which, I mean, I know you didn't run non-wing, but it was a hotbed around here.
Dude, it was
you had Tulsa Speedway running every week.
Yeah. And there were some good drivers.
Oh, yeah.
Tulsa was a unique track. Like, it was a hairpin, really long straightaways, tight corners, and it created a few bad habits for me when I went to go start traveling to bigger tracks. But obviously, the more I traveled, I got accustomed to.
What do you think it was? You think it just like made you twitchy, or
it just? Yeah, you always had to run a lot of stagger, which you didn't do anywhere else, and it just twitchiness, right? Yep. You had to slow down a lot getting into the corners a lot of the nights because the corners were so tight. You don't do that at a lot of racetracks around the country, so it was a learning curve for me.
Yeah.
But listen, we got to a point in my career. I was fortunate enough to have summer jobs where my bosses allowed me to go travel and obviously race weekly, and everything was honed around that, right? Like, I kind of had a plan that I wanted to race professionally. I didn't know how it was going to all work out, or if it was going to work out, and then we traveled enough to where I caught Junior Holbrook's eye, and he kind of was the first guy. Well, I take that back. I ran the 61A with Terry Brown. He was my first car owner outside of my dad, and I ran that a few years around NCRA. He followed the NCRA deal pretty heavily, and back then, man, it was tough. Like, Gary Lee and Gary Wright, and Gary Wright would kick our butts pretty much every night. But it was
two Garys.
Larry Neighbors.
Larry
Neighbors was even tough at times, as goofy as that guy was.
Yeah, right.
But the NCRA deal was pretty tough. So what I ran for Terry Brown, and then got back in my dad's stuff a little bit, and then man, it was just one door kind of led to another door that opened, and I always tried to concentrate on making the best of my situations, whether I was in one car or another. If it was a pile of crap, I would try to work on it and make it fast. And man, in my career, once I got involved with Junior Holbrook, it propelled me into, Junior was based in Ohio, so it got me way out of Oklahoma, and the rest is history, man.
So this is how much Kelly Westfall remembers. Where'd it go? Your first 410 was a used Kreiner engine that you bought from Jeff Shepard. You brought it to us, and we freshened it up for you.
No. My first 410 race was with Andy's Gertie.
No, he's saying the first 410 you bought.
No, that's right.
Yeah,
that is right. Yeah.
He's saying the first one that you owned.
Yeah, that's right.
Was a old Kreiner.
And they had so I don't know if it was Kreiner or Shepard. They always named their engines, and I think it was like Sleepy or something. They were all from the Seven Dwarfs.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's right. Kelly,
so where does we'll get to some questions. I mean, people are just piling these on here, which is great, but when was the 4M car?
So 4M was after Holbrook.
Okay.
Yeah. So I ran for Holbrook for 3 or 4 years, and then we did the Gum Out series.
Yep.
And then the Gum Out series kind of fell apart. And
do you wish we still had a series like the Gum Out series?
I
kind of feel like we do right now.
Yeah.
With Power Eye or that elite deal.
I think Power Eye and now with the All Stars,
yes,
coming back to life. I think that's what those are, right? I mean, here's the thing: you can run both series and still work your regular job and race when you want to, and that's the best part about those. The Gum Out series back then was mainly made up because Ted Johnson wanted to have the biggest car counts he could at all the TV races.
Yes.
At that time,
TNN, wasn't it?
he was, they'd signed a big deal, and they were going to all these NASCAR tracks, and he wanted to make sure that his car counts were as big as possible. For him, in his mind to do that, he's like, I need to start a feeder series and then make that part of their schedule. So we know that we got the Outlaws, right? And then we're going to have the Gum Out, and they're all going to combine. Dude, first year of the Gum Out, we had Jason Myers, Craig Delansky, Paul McMahon, Jeff Shepard, Ronald Laney.
Tyler Walker?
No, he was later.
First year?
He was later.
It was stout. I remember how stout it was.
Crazy tough. I'm talking like get your teeth pounded in every night. And then those guys all kind of graduated and went to the Outlaw deal full time. And then I got to race with Tyler Walker, and him and Ricky kicked our butts almost every night. And then Darren Pittman was out there
in the hop and sack car.
Yeah, it was just a tough series. It was a great series because it wasn't a full time deal.
Right.
It was manageable for us to do financially. And then Junior and Janet kind of went through a little issue, divorce and blah, blah, blah. And Janet's like, listen, I'm not going to keep funding the team. And so everything kind of started falling apart. And then that's when I got into Scott Chilcutt's 4M car, which eventually turned into Rudine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went out to Dirt Cup with Rob Hart. First time I've ever been to Skagit, and we ended up winning Dirt Cup.
You posted that picture the other day and said, wish it was $100,000 then.
Yeah. And so that was my introduction to Kevin Rudine, and then we ended up putting together an Outlaw deal. And
those blue rigs
it was
so
just
sexy.
it was I didn't realize it at the time, but man, I've been so fortunate. Like, just from one team to the next, right? Like it just always opened up another door. And honestly, a lot of it was just me wanting it really bad and just working hard. Like I just told myself, nobody's going to outwork me.
Yeah.
And when I got with Paul Silva, it was just Paul and I pretty much every night. We had some stragglers, friends that would come in and help us from time to time, but we worked. Right, like it was a lot of work.
Well, yeah, and you guys kicked our ass too.
Yeah, we made it work because we were just relentless and
that Rockstar car.
Yeah, it's fast.
It was to me. So I feel like the cars you have driven are really iconic cars, right? Like the 4M car and just the look of it, the white with the blue and just clean. And then because that's when I first remember you running a sprint car. Like I knew you drove for the Holbrooks and everything, but. When I got into sprint car racing and working on them and stuff, you were in the 4M car, and man, it was just so pretty and just well maintained. And and then getting into the Beef Packers car and that being an iconic car, and in the Snap-on car you had, which was beautiful. And
that was a cool.
All the just the and then how fast you were at Knoxville, right? Like it's funny to me. You sit here and tell me that you picked up some bad habits from Tulsa Speedway, but I've watched you at Knoxville never turn the wheel. You know what I mean?
The thing that was a game changer for me at Knoxville, I first few times I went there, I struggled really bad. The first year that I made the Knoxville Nationals was 2000. Lazowski lapped me. I had no left rear shock on the year he won. Broken left rear shock. And I'm sitting there following him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, his left rear shock's off. And I'm like, if he can run the bottom, I can run the bottom. I got all my shocks. And I literally, I can't remember where I finished, but I think I finished like 12th or 11th, like, because he was just motored by people left and right. And I literally stayed with him that entire race after he lapped me. And it was a game changer for me. And then the next year, I felt like I had the confidence to run the bottom the right way with speed and getting your right front plugged in and not getting too much left rear drive. And then we just honed our cars around that, because if you're good on the bottom at Knoxville, you're gonna win some races there.
Yeah, and, it's proven. I mean, proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, but that was a big moment for me, and part of my success at Knoxville was Danny. Just watching him, because there was nobody better on the bottom than him.
No, never will be.
No,
him and Dave Hessmer.
Yeah, Hesmer was good too.
Hesmer in a 360. Mm-hmm. Speaking of 360s, you never won the Knoxville Nationals.
I did not.
Did you win a prelim night?
I've won 3 prelims.
3 prelim nights. Yeah. But you never actually won Knoxville Nationals. But you won 7 360 Nationals, right?
5.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know Kelly Westfall's going to jump in because that was my
it
Westmore.
was his motors every time.
Every time. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we were really, really good at the 360 Nationals, and at the time, Paul and I we were on the ASCS tour, mm-hmm. so that was kind of our deal. But man, every time we put a 410 in, whether it was outside of Knoxville or at Knoxville, we were always pretty competitive. Back then, I didn't really feel like there was a big change, because we would go run Knoxville a few times before the 360 Nationals, so we always had a few laps leading up to those bigger races. Silva and I started on the front row at the Knoxville Nationals one time, and we had a brand new Speedway motor, and that was actually the year that Donnie started last and won. But I'm telling you, my motor was like a darn grenade, and we started on the front row and went straight backwards. I could not stop my tires from spinning. Throughout my career, I think there was 4, maybe 5 times that I legitimately thought that we had a good enough car to win the Knoxville Nationals, and it just didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
But there for a period of time, we were there. We were always up front and ran good.
You were always a contender. I mean,
just the one year that the year that Jason Johnson won, I felt like was probably my best year to win, and for some crazy reason, I broke a spark plug. Don't even know how.
That was in the LMR.
That was LMR car. Yeah, LMR car. There was a couple years that we had a good shot at winning, and just didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
But
Devin Fisher, what's up, brother? Good old Fisher Auto Body.
Yes, sir.
Garrett Williamson, number 23.
Good family.
So kind of go backwards a little bit. When you went outlaws, or more outlaw style, right? And then you got with Paul and you came back to, I say came back, it's not really going back, but you went to the ASCS deal. But you went out west and ran some stuff was it the Harley Davidson car?
Yeah, so that's how I met Paul.
Yeah.
I met...
The Harley Van Dyke?
No, it was Mike and Janie Doyle.
There you go, Doyle. Doyle's Harley.
Doyle's Harley Davidson. They were based in Eugene, Oregon. I'm trying to remember my timeline here. So I ran the 4M,
mm-hmm.
and then ran with Rudine. Rudine ended up getting a divorce, and so it kind of shut down the whole sprint car deal.
Right.
And then I just jumped. I started jumping and running cars here and there. And then I got hooked up with Danny Kirkpatrick
mm-hmm.
In Washington, and then ran Dirt Cup for him. And then Paul saw something in me, and Paul at the time was running with Roger Crockett with the Doyle's Harley Davidson car, and they had a little tiff or something.
I was there.
Yeah, Roger ended up going separate ways, but
that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. And if you were there, people knew it. It was at Oklahoma City, and they were here on Speed Week.
Yeah,
and they were in Roger's rig, but it was Paul's car.
Okay,
and they got into it.
Yeah,
and so Roger's like, "F you," pulls his seat out, straps it down in the middle of the trailer, and leaves Paul's car outside the trailer.
Oh, wow. I did not ever hear that story.
Yeah. And the only reason, I seen it with my own eyes. I'm not making that up. And we're all just like, what the just happened?
Paul's tough, man. He's a tough cookie. He's a tough cookie. But anyway,
07.
so...
Kelly said 07.
07.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ended up getting introduced to Mike and Janie, and, dude, we just freaking hit it off. Like they had a little speed week out in Washington and Oregon, that area, and dude, we spanked them.
I remember that speed week. That was a fun little speed week.
I just come off of Ohio Speed Week that I just won with Larry Wood, which was kind of Holbrook's deal. And funny story, we literally would just flip a coin to see if we were going to buy a left rear, right rear for Speed Week. And it was one of the few years that we actually got all 7 races in.
Oh, nice.
and
without
no rain.
Yeah.
And we freaking won that speed week. And that was against Dale Blaney with George Fisher, and tough. And so I come off Ohio Speed Week win. So I'm pumped up, right? Ready to rip. Go out to Oregon and Washington, do really well with Paul. And then, of course, Mike and them are pumped. And they had A410 at the time. Come back to Knoxville. We're leading our heat race after qualifying well. Like, I qualified top 5, and I'm leading my heat, and we blow up.
Oh, shit.
So we have to run one of the nights rained out. So we have to run afternoon race on Saturday, and we spanked him in the B main. Like, I mean, freaking spanked him in the daytime.
Yeah.
And we, we're cycling through the field, get up to like 10th in the A, and blow up another motor. So anyway, Mike and them end up buying a couple more 410s. And we raced with them for a year, and then their business wasn't doing that very good. So Mike came to Sacramento. We're within 2 or 3 weeks of leaving to go do the full ASCS deal. And Mike says he can't do it. So Paul and I are like, oh boy, like, now what?
Yeah.
So Paul had this, I don't even know how you even explain this thing. One of the best things about Paul is that dude can sit there and stare at something and figure out how things, trailers especially, how things are going to fit and this and that. So we freaking start measuring, and he's got this old dilapidated freaking trailer in his back of his shop that he's still at to this day in Sacramento. And dude, we just go to town. We gut this thing and start throwing, toolboxes and wing hangers, and we figure out that we can just barely get our mule in there. And we got one 2-row tire rack in the very front of the trailer, but we don't have any room for our spare tires. So we're like, crap, what are we going to do? We didn't even have a rig. We didn't have a truck. So we reached out to Dave DeWitt.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a pretty famous car owner from the Northwest. He's been around a long time. Dave's like, you know what? I respect you guys. I'll give you my dually. You can have my dually for this season. So we put this camper shell on it.
Nice.
And throw all of our spare tires in the back of the truck. And
that was it.
I think we left Sacramento with $1,000. And Paul said, listen, like, our first, 2 or 3 weeks are going to be pretty important here.
Yeah.
First race was at Devil's Bowl. We ended up winning. And that just kind of catapulted things. And then we had sponsors that stepped up, Finley Farms. And
it's crazy to know that they've been with him
since
that long.
Since
you know
then,
what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's how you take care of your sponsors, right? Like,
well, that family became family with us. I mean,
yeah.
I still to this day still talk to Scott and Jason, and they're just two really good families, and Jason's still obviously very heavily involved with Paul Silva's team, but yeah, I mean, so then we went from Paul, and then once Paul got kind of hooked up with Rico, I kind of saw the writing on the wall and knew I needed to start figuring out other things, and kind of jumped around here and there, and then Kyle Larson saw something in me. And then him and Justin decided to start a team, and Kyle's like, I'd really like to have Shane. Of course, Justin didn't know who I was.
Right.
He didn't know sprint cars, really, at the time. Totally trusted Kyle to kind of put this whole thing together. And, and then we had a lot of success at LMR.
Yeah, you told me you won 14 races that year and finished second in points.
Yeah.
I was scrolling through pictures on your Facebook on the racing page to try and find something to post today, because Shane had no clue that he was the guest tonight. And dude, the amount of cars that you drove and the pictures of Guy Forbrook and all these cars that you've been in, and did you ever, through all those pictures I looked at, did you ever drive for anybody in Pennsylvania?
I
like
drove
for
Hefner.
An actual I
drove
the 27
for Hefner
car?
a few times, not very many. I struggled at all the Pennsylvania tracks. They're at the later part of my career. I finally figured out Williams Grove I struggled at Lincoln. I had some great runs at Lincoln, but I struggled there.
Yeah.
So my name wasn't, up
big
on
up there.
No.
Yeah.
Even when I was in between rides, like I very rarely got phone calls from Pennsylvania.
Where would you say you got the most phone calls from? Would it be like Ohio area or
Ohio.
West Coast?
Yeah, both.
Both.
Yeah, and then local guys would call me up every once in a while. But we had a lot of when I was with Holbrook, we had a lot of success in Ohio.
Yeah.
Junior was really smart with his cars.
Yeah.
We had special made rear ends where the right rear bird cage was in an inch and a half further than anyone else, and like Junior he knew how to make cars get hooked up on slick tracks, and that's all we raced on. You got to figure that
up there, yeah.
So,
somebody we've had it asked 3 times now, but what is your favorite racetrack when you drove?
I don't know. Big tracks, I always
give us a top 5.
Yeah, I ran well at Knoxville. Obviously, I had a lot of great runs at Eldora. Small tracks, we just talked about one, Eagle. I always enjoyed racing at I-55, Peevely. Peevely's was always a fun track, always a very racy track. So I'd say those are probably my top 4.
What obviously, I feel like I know your biggest win. What was your biggest win?
Honestly, people think it's Kings Royal, but my biggest...
I feel like that would have been my answer.
My biggest win to me is when I won in the 41 at Lakeside. That to me was a pretty special win. And it was kind of a last minute deal that got put together. At the time I was racing for Bernie. And, of course, Bernie's main focus is the speed shop. So we couldn't race full time. We raced a lot. He raced probably more with me than anybody. But Phil, we tried to get some things put together after Jason passed away, and we couldn't get sponsorship put together, and then Tarleton obviously came with Macedo, and that just made sense for Phil.
Yep.
And they needed that. I didn't have that. So, and then after that, we tried to put together a couple things for Knoxville, and things kind of fell apart at the last minute. And then David was busy for a few weekends. I can't remember what the heck he was doing. But anyway, so Philip called me and he's like, "Hey, we're going to run Lakeside and Lake of the Ozarks." And I'm like, "Heck yeah!" I said, "Yeah, I'm good for that." So and then we ended up winning at Lakeside, which was just I had already kind of started thinking about getting out of sprint cars, and because that was towards the later stages of me racing full time, and that was just to me icing on the cake. I mean, because everybody knows me and Jason were really good buddies.
Yeah,
our families were close.
So is that your last win?
No.
Okay.
No, I had wins with Bernie.
Oh, that's right.
We actually won at Williams Grove.
That's right. That's right.
I really wasn't worth a flying shit at Williams Grove. Dude, when I went there with Bernie, we were money every time. It was one of the few times that I legitimately felt like I had a good shot at winning the National Open, and we broke a U-joint. Our drive shaft. One of the two, I can't remember.
Yeah.
We won the night before. We were leading the dash. I mean, we were just so fast. Ended up breaking I think it was a drive shaft. But Bernie and I, we had a few wins.
Yeah.
But obviously my Kings Royal, so my Kings Royal win, I started 16th.
Yeah.
It rained and rained and rained. They were talking about canceling it and crazy. I think our A main rolled off at like 4 o'clock.
I remember.
And the place was packed. I mean, like not one single person left. Started 16th. And I was really fast that weekend. We'd won the night before. I qualified really well. In the right up against the fence earlier in the day before it started raining. And we literally had a great shot at winning that Kings Roll that night. And then it rained and rained and rained. And Kings Roll invert, you got to get to top 3. which I barely got to top 3. Like, if I remember right, I passed a guy coming for the checkered, or I'd have been in the B.
Yeah.
Lined up 16th, and, dude, we were coming.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have beat Donnie Schatz or not, but I can tell you he was a straightaway ahead of me, and I caught him, and then he ended up running out of gas. So we had an open red with probably 4 or 5 laps ago, and we ended up winning the race. But it was a big race. I mean, the Jewel Crowns are big, right?
Yeah.
And man, there's so many good race car drivers that's had successful careers that's never won any of the big races.
Yeah, it's hard to win.
They're super hard to win.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I talked to Garth about, and I talked to these kids that I do help when, moving up. They might have had a bunch of wins in micros, but it's tougher as you move up, and it's a process, and it's getting in the trenches, making laps. I mean,
and getting your butt kicked like that's the hardest thing, and honestly the best thing. You don't realize it at the time, but I tell people all the time out here, dude, listen, you're gonna have way more bad nights than good ones.
Yes.
So you better just take the bad ones on the chin and cherish the good ones, because you're not gonna have good ones all the time.
Yeah.
They don't happen very often. So
going back to Jason Johnson, you mentioned everybody pretty much knows that you guys were, really good friends, and obviously your kids and you guys traveled together, and so everybody, when I was out on the road, you had these different groups, right? Like, how did you and Jason become as close as you were? Because you guys were fierce competitors on the track.
We hated each other when we ran ASCS.
Yes.
Like we were pretty much arch rivals, right? Like we were always in battling and winning the championships. The one year that we won the championship, he ended up winning the owner's side, and we ended up winning the driver's side. But we weren't buddies. We honestly did not become buddies until we got on the outlaw deal, and our kids really brought us together.
Oh, okay.
Jax and Nixon hit it off. At that time, the T-shirt trailer business was starting to get started. I couldn't afford my own T-shirt trailer, but Bobby and them had theirs, so we split a T-shirt trailer with them, and we did that for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And of course, Jen and Bobby became really good friends,
Yes.
and so Jason and I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, you guys had to, in essence, kiss and make up.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then we just had that relationship that, because we ran into each other a few times. And we had some really close battles a few times, and we'd MF each other, but
At the end of the day, yeah.
It was done. Like,
my dad used to tell me stories about...
I didn't have friends like that.
Right.
Except him.
My dad used to tell me about that when he raced weekly at Knoxville, him and Randy Smith.
Yeah.
They'd beat and bang on each other, even Tim Green,
Yeah.
But then they'd all be hanging out in the pits having beers afterwards,
This doesn't have, it gets super, I mean, you see it, obviously. I mean, there's friends, there's drivers that are friends with other drivers. Me, I just didn't, that just wasn't me, right? Like, I was pretty much to myself most of the time. I didn't really hang out with other drivers. And then, when Jason, we all became good friends, and we traveled together and did things outside of the racetrack, and stayed together, at hotels or different places. And if we were in each other's areas, he ended up buying this really nice place in Missouri, that Lake of the Ozarks, and we were always welcome there. And then, like, his sponsors became really close friends with ours, and
it became one big family.
Yeah. It was a good time. Good time.
Mike Ross said ask you about the night Jason won the Nationals.
Oh, so that was that. Like I said earlier, that year, I had this little trick, right, going into the corners where I could kind of follow it around the berm, the bottom of the track, and go across the racetrack and not scrub off any speed. And it was a little bit of a technique to do it. And so anyway, Jason comes to me on Saturday of the race, and he's like, I need some help. Like, I'm struggling a little bit. And so we sat down, and I gave him too many pointers.
Sounds like
he ended up beating me.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, but that was just the relationship that we had with each other, right? Like I didn't ever hold anything back from Jason, but yeah, we had, dude, man, I bet we talked for hour and a half, 2 hours at the motorhome. And he ended up kicking my butt.
That's funny.
I told him after the race, I said, I think I need a little bit of percentage here.
All right. Yeah, I bet Jason wasn't coming off of that.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. But yeah, that was pretty funny. I said, shit, I told him too much.
Then you've got to go overseas and race. You got to run in Australia. And
I have been really fortunate, and I had a lot of success in Australia. Bill Mann and I just same thing, right? Like I got started with Bill Mann, with Dave Sharman, and that just led into, another ride. And the Australians are always kind of seeking out Americans that do well over here, the Luchmanis and the people that can afford to have us Americans come over. There was a couple years that I think I might have had. So at the time, we would start in Florida, end in Vegas. I would fly to Australia. I think I might have had 1 weekend off, and we raced there for 3 months straight. And then we literally would fly straight to Florida. I wouldn't even go home. So there was a couple years that I never even had weekends off. Like we just raced.
Which, I mean, that helped you as a driver.
Oh, totally. But I got burnt out. Like it was a lot. Yeah. But I had a lot of success in Australia, and same thing, right? Like Jason and I became good buddies over there, and he was pretty successful over there, and got to go to New Zealand and race with the United Truck Lines car, and had some success there. And I've lived my life backwards, man.
Yeah,
I've traveled the world. Now I got to work.
I know, right? And had kids later in life.
And I had kids later in life. Yeah.
So you lived in Indy for the majority of your racing career.
Yeah, and that was something that I knew that I had to. So I left here and went and raced for Holbrook, and really never came back. That kind of led to me trying to figure out like what was more centrally located. Oklahoma wasn't. The 410 thing was dying down here. The ASCS deal was ramping up. I wasn't involved with ASCS at that time, and it just made sense to move to Indy.
Yeah,
it was kind of a main.
Which I mean, that's where most of your teams are at now. Yeah,
and I was there for a long time. Matter of fact, we didn't move back here until we bought Port City.
Yeah,
so Indy's a great town.
And you became really good friends with Chad Baseflug, which is one of our sponsors with Flying A Motorsports.
Yep.
And
here's the thing:
you guys had a business together.
We did. We had porta potty business.
Selling porta johns,
pit stop potties. And of course, we bought it during COVID, right before COVID.
That's
so
a
it
good
freaking
name,
kicked her. It was a
good name.
It would have been successful too.
Yeah.
But COVID just kicked our tails. Racetracks were shut down, and they didn't have, obviously didn't have spectators or nothing, so nobody was going to the porta potty. And construction was tanking, and
especially up there.
Yeah,
especially up there.
Anyway, we had a little business together for a short period of time, and then obviously the Port City thing came available, and it made sense to move back and do this crazy job.
Well, and with Chad, it was kind of the same thing, right? Like with the kids, and I mean, you guys.
Well, so at the time,
because I didn't know that Lane, Maverick, and Luca are like.
They're within
months,
a week.
They're pretty close together, and it's like, man, that's pretty cool.
It is cool. It is cool. Yeah. So at the time, Chad had a dump truck business, and then he got involved with Capital
Renegade,
and then realized, man, I can make a lot more money selling, toter homes and trailers and stuff. So we got rid of the dump truck deal and ended up leading into Flying A, and they're rocking, man. Yeah, he's kicking butt.
Yeah,
Good to see, though. I'm happy for him.
Remember, I sent him that gray toter home when I photoshopped in bench racing.
That's right.
It looked pretty good on there. Our traveling road show.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is man, like I have a lot of really good friends that are involved with racing that aren't drivers.
Yeah.
I never was good friends with drivers.
Right.
But I have met a lot of really good people.
See, and that's what's cool for me, because
that's involved with racing.
We've always known each other. Like, I knew you raced, you knew I was at the racetrack, but we never really knew each other until you moved back here and you had Port City, and we got to hanging out, and then the next thing you know, you live across the street from Becky and Eric, so for me, because I always looked up to you as a competitor, and when I got into sprint car racing, I didn't want to drive. I would not be good at it. I know I wouldn't. But I wanted to learn, and I always watched cars like yours and like what Paul does, and to try and help myself. And so to kind of come full circle and be friends and do this with you is pretty cool to me.
That's awesome, man.
So
I appreciate it.
I'm gonna have you sign my arm later, and I'm gonna get it tattooed on me.
So that's how it is, though, man. Like things, there's a lot of. I've had a lot of full circle moments in racing.
Small world moment, right? So there's a guy in my neighborhood that I just met. He made a post in our neighborhood Facebook about selling pulled pork sandwiches at the pool. Mm-hmm. Well, it was the same day as Luca's birthday party. And he was there, and I sent him a message, and I was like, "Hey, man, like I've never met the guy, or at least I didn't know if I had or not. But I sent him a message, and I was like, "Hey, man, I really wanted to come try it. Sorry I couldn't make it." Right? I was like, "If you ever do it again, let me know. If you need, I'll do it with you if you want. I love cooking." Well, we become friends. He comes over, he hangs out last couple of weeks or so, and I had met him before. Well, anyway, so he messaged me right before the show tonight and said, "Hey, man, come try this steak I made." He made a bone-in ribeye. Yeah. And I said, "Okay, well, I made some chicken legs on my little Masterbuilt that I got for $60. So I took him a chicken leg. And anyway, I'm sitting in his house, and I see this. It's a whiskey decanter, but it's a Jayhawk, Kansas Jayhawk. And I was like, "Who's a Jayhawk fan?" And his wife goes, "Well, I am." And I was like, "Really?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, I'm a Jayhawk fan too." And she goes, "Well, where are you from?" I said, "Well, I grew up in Kansas City." She goes, "Well, I grew up in Liberal." No way. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And she was like, "No." I was like, "Well, you probably know one of my good friends, and he was the best man at my wedding." And she goes, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Tony Bruce." And she goes, "Bruce Racing?" And I was like, "Yep." And she goes, awesome. "Holy cow." And they live in my neighborhood. Yeah, moved here from Colorado. Yeah, so it's funny how... So we think that the sprint car world is a big world, right? We think that dirt track racing is a big world, and it's really not. Like it's really minuscule if you look at your NASCARs or your NHRA or your Formula One, whatever, right? Like we're very small. But to have moments like that periodically where it's like, holy crap, like it's full. Again, it's full circle. It's small world.
It is a little ties here and there, and that's one thing. Like I stress to people here, especially the ones that I kind of feel like might have an opportunity to climb up the ladder. Just don't burn your bridges, man.
Yep.
Like if something bad happens, just try to leave on the best terms, because you don't ever know. No. I've had business dealings with 3 different car owners. It has nothing to do with racing.
Yep.
But we just remained good friends, and I stayed in contact with them, and some of them I got let go in really bad times, and financially it was bad for me. And I just made sure that no matter what, I always left on good terms, and Kevin Rudine was one of them, and he's been my biggest advocate outside of racing. So, but it all stimulated from me racing for him.
Speaking of that, that's the race that kid won.
Yeah, it was the Rudine race.
Yeah. He got the guitar and everything.
I know.
So, Rudine has been obviously a big impact to the sprint car world. Here as in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
and it's been awesome to see. And so, what made you? What was like? You kind of mentioned it, right? Like when you drove Jason the 41 car at Lakeside and won, you're kind of like, yeah. So what was that ultimate decision to be like, you know what? I gotta be done.
There was several things, man. It was just the Outlaw deal was getting. I wanted to be on the Outlaw deal, but there just wasn't any teams that wasn't. If they weren't family owned, there was people bringing a ton of money to the team. To me, I always struggled mentally with, okay, listen, if I have a really good year on the Outlaw Tour, I'm going to make X amount of money, right?
Yeah.
This team is asking me to bring more than that. And to me, I'm like, okay, listen, to me, like, it just wasn't my job. Like, I felt like my job was to go race, to try to do the best I could with the sponsors and represent them the right way. And it just got more and more political. And I was tired of it. Nixon was getting old enough to where she was getting ready to start school, and Jen and them weren't with me full time. We were fortunate enough to travel in the motorhome for several years as a family. That was starting to go away.
Yeah.
I don't know. And here's the thing. Like, I lived, eat, and breathed it. I don't miss it. I don't. There's like certain races, like I'll watch, I'm like, oh man, I wish I was driving because I would have done this or that, right? But like, very rarely do I sit and watch an outlaw race or a high limit race and say, man, I wish I was in there driving.
Well, and I think a lot of that is because you're so occupied here.
Maybe.
Because you're not even watching.
I'm still involved in racing in some sort of fashion. But
Brandon Lewis wants me to ask you when you're getting in a car again, because something about the shootout. I don't know. Anyway, you're talking to Andy.
I asked Andy because Andy he was freaking cold turkey.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then same with him. Like, he ate it and breathed it. And same with him. Like, his family was getting older and Deanne wasn't with him all the time. I remember sitting in his motorhome at Charlotte. It was raining. And I was just like, man, what's wrong with you? And he's like, I'm done. And I'm trying to think of when we raced Charlotte back then. Maybe late May?
Yeah, it was earlier in the year.
And I said, whatever. And by God, at Vegas, he won his last race and done. Yeah. And that was a really cool thing that didn't transpire, but we were this close to getting Copenhagen, and I was going to drive the car on the Outlaw Tour.
Oh, nice.
And then the government got involved and shut down all the, Winston, and so that put the kibosh to that.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But we were like so close to putting together a deal together and having me race for him, which would have been an ultimate dream. But
especially because you went on the road with him.
Yeah, it didn't work out. Yeah, and I pretty much, when Deanne wasn't with him, I was with him. Like, we traveled and I crewed for him. I was in a little bit of a lapse in between rides. I crewed for him until like early June one year with him and Diesel. And same thing, like, it just put a fire in me that, for one, I realized I didn't want to be a mechanic.
You didn't want to be a mechanic, yeah.
So I figured if I ever got another chance to drive, that I better make the best of it. And I got back in Holbrook's car and ended up having a really later, really successful year with the Gum Out. And we won my first outlaw race at Talladega, turned around and went to Devil's Bowl and won the next weekend with the Outlaws. And, dude, I was on cloud nine.
Cloud nine, yeah.
But, yeah. So I just knew it was time. Like, I just had that feeling in my belly that it was time to change gears.
Braden Cooley, great guy and driver, was awesome working close with Shane and the Larson and Marks Racing with our Aussie Cool chassis.
Yeah, so I had some success. That was another car I was in and out of a few times, was the XYZ car with Joe Gertie and Tim Norman. Won the Canadian Nationals a couple times. Man, we literally should have won at least 4 or 5 outlaw races and always had crazy things happen. Quick change gears broke and leading a race at I-96, killing them. And Rin broke, you know what I mean? Just crazy things. But that car was super fast. It was a cool car. And I just, when the first time I got into a cool car was with Joe and Tim. Of course, I kind of knew them from the Australia, going over there to race, and they were successful over there with Brooke Tatnall, and he had won the World Series championship pretty much every year I was over there.
Yeah,
and those cars were fast. I ran one or two times over there, and then never got back in one until I got with Tim and Joe. And dude, that car was so fast. So got into the LMR car and convinced them to run the cool chassis, and that's pretty much what we ran the whole time we were together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but they were good cars.
Any regrets?
Yeah, I mean, a few. I mean, I wish I'd enjoyed things a little bit more. I wish I would have probably been a little bit easier on some of my crew guys. But I think honestly that's why Paul and I were so successful, is that we were the same.
Yeah.
Right. Like we didn't do anything but think about winning. And then when you parlay that into, the crew guy side, they're there to win, but it's not.
They ain't got no skin in the game.
It's not like us, right?
Yeah.
So, boy, I was tough on a lot of them.
But man, we know, like, here's the thing. Like my first full-time job was with Scott Brown, and you had to have thick skin to work for that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love him to death, but
you had to have thick skin with me for sure.
I mean, but you had like to stay out on the road as long as some of these guys have.
Yeah.
Like you have to have thick skin.
Yeah,
You can't be a get your feeling hurts type of person. Like leave your emotions at the door, bud.
Yeah.
This is a grown man's sport,
Yeah, I don't have many regrets, man. Like I felt like I worked hard and I was fortunate and blessed to meet some great people. I had some great car owners that I drove for, and I pretty much talked to all of them still to this day.
Yeah. Remember that, kids.
That's right.
Josh Holt said, "What's up?" He said, "It's an awesome show. Keep it up."
Yeah.
I love Josh Holt. Shout out to My Race Pass.
Great dude.
My Race Pass. Always a big supporter of a show.
Yep.
Big
supporter of the CAP program.
But that's a life. Big support CAP program. Well, they just built the website for it.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think that's one thing that I like about you is that, you run the track here, but I still think you try to teach these kids that the right and wrong way to do things. Obviously, running a racetrack is not the most glorifying deal you can do. I've witnessed so many things online that I don't see how people have the heart, soul to say the things that they say. Because if somebody was to say those things about them, they would be pissed.
Oh, yeah.
But yet it's okay for them to say it. But I think you've transitioned well into being a promoter, owner of a track, just because you've been through it. You've seen how many tracks, like you can't even count how many racetracks you've been to.
Thousands and thousands. Honestly, I'm learning. The promoting side of it's been unique. Obviously as a driver, you're part of a circus, right? You come into town, you leave town. None of the drivers actually, until they dive into the promoting side, they have no idea.
None.
They don't know the money side of it. They don't understand the work side of it. When we would come into town, like we were, I mean, dude, listen, back in the day, when I first started the Outlaw Tour, they literally had track owners lining up to win an outlaw race because when the outlaw guys came into town, that was it. Like sometimes it was their budget
Make
for the
their
whole year.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, it was nothing for a track owner to make a couple $100,000 on an outlaw race, and we don't know the work that's involved because we always showed up and the place was always like
ready to go,
mowed, and the walls were painted. And that's not normal. We didn't. I paid attention to a little bit of that. But not like I should have. Not if I'd have known where my life was going to lead, I would have definitely paid a lot more attention to, because I could have learned a lot more. I mean, here's the deal. This is such a different. It's dealing with the people that the weekend warriors, right? The guys that are just here for the hobby side of it. I've struggled with a little bit because we try not to make judgment calls, but there's calls that I've made or Kip or whoever is the race director. I'm like, man, I really can't make that call, but I have to because I saw what happened before. And then this guy is he's mad because he got, what I mean? And when we race for a living, we just dealt with that, right?
Yeah.
Like we dealt with it amongst ourselves. But when you're racing weekly and everybody has a regular job, that's been tough for me.
Yeah,
it's that side of it's because I'm a racer. Like I've been frustrated and said, you know what, you better hope I don't get back to you, because if I do, you're going to get a bad slide job. And you have to try to police that here.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it just gets out of control.
Yeah.
And that's
because if it happens once, then and you let it go, then it's,
It's just such a different world from people that do it for a living versus people that do it for a hobby like what we have here. And it's been educational. I'm telling you, like, there's been nights that I've left this place and I'm like, what in the Sam hell?
Yeah.
And same way with Jen. I mean, God bless her. She kind of got drug into the fire, and she's adapted really well. But there's been a few times at our house that we've questioned.
Yeah.
And she's definitely questioned me.
Yeah.
Like, what in the heck did you get me
Why did you
involved?
drag me away from Indiana?
And
she's from there, right?
She's from Illinois.
Illinois. Okay,
Yeah.
Illinois.
Yeah. But so it is the social media side of it, and that was one of the things that was nice for me growing up. I didn't have any of that.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
And we saw results from Speed Sport News, and that's how people got their racing information.
I still tell a story about my grandfather when I first went out on the road, and he would call me every time he get a Speed Sport, and like, how'd you do?
Yeah,
which he knew, right?
Right.
But that was my because you know how it is when you're out on the road, you're around the same people all the time, 24/7.
Yeah.
You don't get your own space.
Yeah.
So that was my time, like on Monday or whatever. I'd go somewhere else away from the toter home. It might just be walking around Walmart.
Yeah.
And talk to my grandfather about him reading
way to
Speed
catch
Sport,
up,
And so
Yeah.
I think that's lost.
Yeah. No, it is totally. But, the thing is, like, you got to evolve and adapt, and you got to make changes in any type of business. You got to grow.
Martin Edwards, I wish we didn't have it now. No, that's true. It causes more
and
problems
here's the thing.
than
The
anything.
social media side is bad for a racetrack owner. There's just so much negative.
Well, it's too easy to bash them.
It is.
I mean,
It
and
is.
it's like,
Yeah, and it sucks.
Yep.
And here's the
Keyboard
thing. It doesn't
warriors,
matter
man.
how hard you work or how hard you try. Like, dude, some days, like, it just isn't that great.
yeah,
No matter.
Well, it's no different than a race car. Like, there's nights where you don't get it right.
We had a bad night.
Like,
I don't know what to tell you. You can be mad about it, but I'll see you next Sunday or Saturday. And that's what's been nice about, like, we struggle with some of our weekend people that are here every night, but when we get an influx of out of town people, like, we get so many like thank yous, and you guys are
they
doing
appreciate
a
it.
great job. Yeah, doing a great job.
Because
Your
they
place
might
is
come
clean.
from they might come from a track that doesn't do the things that you do.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's honestly, that's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
So,
Well, man, we finally did it. We got this. We got the Shane Stewart interview.
we did. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I know you don't like talking about yourself, but that shows how humble you are. Because in my eyes, again, you were, dude. I looked up to you as a competitor, and like I said, and dude, you've won a lot of races.
I've won my share, and I'm proud of each and every one of them.
It's hard to win one.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's
So
hard.
my dad's in the Knoxville Raceway Track Hall of Fame underneath the grandstands on the front stretch.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was inducted in 2001.
Yeah.
I think. He only won 3 features at Knoxville.
Right.
Like, and so we were talking about it, and he said, yeah, I only won 3 features there. He goes, but you know else who won 3 features at Knoxville? I said, who's that? He goes, Jan Opperman.
No way. That's awesome.
He goes, so I won as many as Jan Opperman. I'm like, well, okay. But back then in the 80s, man, dude, it was so hard, right?
yeah. Dude,
you look at the Dave Hessmers, the Lasowskis, and Brian Brown. I don't know if he'll ever catch Lasowski, but these guys have all these wins there now, and it's just it's different,
It is.
But to know that and my dad will never be in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
But he'll tell you that, but at the same time, but my dad told me that his biggest accomplishment was getting inducted to the Carb Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's cool.
Because growing up in Kansas City, the Carb was Central Auto Racing Boosters was in Kansas City with the old Riverside, and my grandfather raced in it. You know what I mean? So he said he felt like that was more, like, not that one's better than the other, but like he kind of appreciated it a little bit more, and was like, this is cool because he grew up more with the Carb scene than anything. But obviously being inducted to any Hall of Fame is cool, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and I'm sure that someday, I know you won't believe it, but someday you'll probably be inducted into a Hall of Fame.
Who knows? Who knows?
You know,
man. We'll see. But
and if there's ever my chance to get to vote, I'll throw my name. I'll throw it.
that's one thing. Like and I'm in the same boat as a lot of kids. Like, their mom and dads, they dedicate their weekends, and there was numerous times where we were sitting around the dinner table, and I'd get the old, and I knew it was coming. I get the old, bud, we got to get our act together, man, or we're not gonna be able to keep racing here. You gotta stop crashing. And
so what's so funny, like knowing Mike now, and knowing that like he doesn't cuss or nothing like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you be stern without cussing? Because like me and you were like, listen here, you little, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, my dad was just had that he was just very good at I knew when he was mad, and trust me, there was a few times that I made him very angry.
It's cool to see that he's still out here every Saturday with your nephews.
Same thing, right? Full circle, right? Yep. Now my family's. I didn't get to see my mom and dad much when I was in Indy, and they would travel a little bit, but having their business, their weekends are part of their busier time, so it was hard for them to sneak off to come watch me race. So, but I missed out on a lot of all that. Yeah, right. Like
the one question I didn't ask you: what was it like racing against Darren?
My brother?
Yeah,
he beat me a lot, actually. Him and Bobby were fast
in that car.
So I was with 4M at that time, and if I remember right, we were Rob Hart was my crew chief, and we were trying a couple different like one-off cars, and the 4M shop was based in Oklahoma City, so we ran the little track a lot with ASCS, or not a lot, but a few times. Man, every time I'd go there, Darren would freaking spank me. And then we'd go to Little Rock, and he'd beat me at Little Rock. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Dude, your brother.
And I had like way more years of experience.
You want to talk about falling off the face of the earth?
Yeah.
When your brother quit.
Yeah.
Done.
Well, he was smart, right? Like he went to OSU, got a good education, and ended up getting a great job at Chesapeake.
Yeah.
He's been there ever since. But
yeah.
No, Darren was tough, really tough.
Kelly Westfall. Yes, Marty Johnson did own the number 81 Shady Oak Steakhouse car. Yep. Marty Johnson owned that car. Yeah. My dad told me that, so it was a Trossel car in 83, and it was a 4-coil car. Okay. And, but Marty would tell my dad, hey, listen, you only get one set of Nerf bars a year. And I'll show you sometime. I'll pull up some pictures. Every picture of that car, we had no Nerf bars.
He just took them off.
Well, no, my dad would knock them off. And Marty's like, I'm not giving you any more. Because back then,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, like all the pictures I got of my dad at Knoxville from the infield, like there's no left side Nerf.
That's awesome.
And me and my brother, actually, more my brother than me. So when they used to have the Masters race at Knoxville, Bill Johnson, which J.D. Johnson's dad, purple 98 car. So my brother had bought a car, and we did it without my dad knowing. And J.D., we took everything up there together, and we rolled the car out, and it was my brother had bead rolled the panels and got the paint code from Marty, and it looked like the Shady Oak Steakhouse car when we rolled it out. And my dad just looked at it like, holy crap. And it was so close that people came up to us and said, is this the car from 1983? And we're like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like, hand-painted Shady Oak Steakhouse on the side. I mean, it was, so that was pretty cool.
That's one thing that I've always enjoyed about Knoxville, because I feel like with our Snap-on car, we were one of the first that kind of came out with a unique paint scheme for the Knoxville Nationals. And to see that trend get as big as it's gotten over the last, 20 years.
Blue Max car was pretty legit.
Yeah, that was...
Speaking of Kelly Westfall.
That was, I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed the paint schemes, and...
I think my favorite paint scheme of yours was the big bull down the side.
Oh, with
Beef Packers.
Beef Packers?
Yeah. I know the Snap-on car was cool.
Yeah, Snap-on car was cool.
Was that was with Rudine though, right?
That was with Chilcutt and Rudine.
Chilcutt and Rudine, yeah. And then the bull had that. Oh, dude. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And then it led to Tatnall's $10,000 full flame job car with the red wheels and white walls. And
I'm like, dude, that's trick.
We took when I was with Tony, Tony always had black cars, black Scalps or whatever. And it's like, let's do something different for the Nationals. And so we had like red frame, white car. Well, we only had one set of wings. Yeah. You know what I mean? We go out the last weekly show before the 410 Nationals, and obviously it's before 360s.
Right.
Dude, steering gear breaks. Hard right. It's fast. It's only like halfway up the track. Left front hits the wall first, spits the front end out, KOs the car, does a brand new Kistler, shoves the oil pump into the motor, right? We're cutting, they literally, first time I've ever been a part of them picking it up with the skid steer and taking it out to our trailer. Load the motor up and haul it to Kistler so we can get it back before the Nationals. And, we didn't get to run that paint scheme. Needless to say. And then that car, so remember when the Sonic used to be at the end of town? So the manager of that, this guy was the smartest guy ever, I promise you. This was way before DoorDash, this was way before anything. Whenever we would be hanging out there in 3 and 4 at night or whatever, dude, he'd come out there with, hey, you guys need anything from Sonic? And like, dude, he would literally write out orders for us and like, okay, man, I'll bring it back.
No way.
I swear, dude.
Oh, wow.
Well, we were out there working on the car. We had to pull another car down. He was like, what are you guys going to do with this car? I don't know. He was like, can we set it in front of Sonic for the Nationals? And they're like, I mean, yeah, dude, this thing's like pieced back together with the panels on it and stuff. So it sat in front of the Sonic. And so Tony Stewart went and signed it.
Tony Stewart did?
Yeah. But like that guy, which the Sonic's not there, it's a car lot now, but dude, that guy was ingenious, dude. Yeah. He would come through there at night and say, hey, man, taking orders for Sonic. You know, what do you guys need? And it's like, holy crap. Idea. So that was, and actually, unfortunately, that was the year that Steve King passed. Yeah. So, but man, watching that was tough. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know you were there with Jason that night.
I witnessed the whole thing. Yeah. Him and Darren were, I can't remember if Darren had just taken the lead. I think Darren had just passed him, and when they got together.
Yeah.
But I knew it was bad. I knew when I went by it, I'm like, crap. I knew it was just a really high-speed crash. Obviously didn't know the extent of it, but
right.
Bad night.
Yep. It is good that Phil has been able to carry it on.
They're stout.
And, having Alba behind him now and Tarleton and just to keep that legacy going, not only for Jason, but for Jackson, for Bobby.
And it was Jason's dream, right? Like Jason started that whole thing and worked really hard. I remember him and Bobby coming to a few of the ASCS races with just them.
Hardly anything, yeah.
Same thing. Jason was a hard worker.
Yep.
Like he was a hard worker. He was good with the sponsors. And honestly, once he got a few sponsors, that car always had sponsors. Like they may not always been the same.
Yep.
But there was always enough money to get them up and down the road and do it the right way professionally. And of course, the stuff was always clean. And but he worked really hard at that.
Yep.
And that's another side of it that's become a forefront where it wasn't so much when I first started, but towards the later part of my career. If you don't have sponsorship money and you don't own your own ride, it's tough.
Yep.
Tough to get a job.
That and you gotta keep your stuff clean. You gotta make it presentable.
It's all part of it now.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man, we got an hour and 40 minutes out of it.
Did we? It goes quick.
It does. It goes quick when we're having fun.
Yeah. It does.
We appreciate every one of you coming and hanging out with us tonight, as we always do every week. We are back on Mondays.
No more baseball.
No more baseball.
I don't even know where.
You guys are doing summer ball. We're not.
Yeah, but it's not Mondays. Yeah. I know it's not Mondays.
We're not doing summer ball. Lucas said no.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. Whatever. Yeah. He was over it anyway.
Yeah.
So, maybe we'll get somebody on next week. We'll see who we can find.
Yeah.
I know he was on the phone with Andy. Maybe we can get Andy.
Yeah. If he's in town, I'll have to reach out to him.
We do need to interview your dad, though.
Yeah.
Somebody said that.
My dad?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
But yeah, again, please go to thelumberlounge.com. and support our cause. I did see something come up. Somebody did buy something while we were on the show. So
nice.
Yep. So at least we can keep it going for another week. Bedtime. Yep. Kelly Westfall, thank you so much for joining us, man. He wanted us to start earlier so he could go to bed earlier. Kelly, when you come back in town, you're coming back on the show.
Yes.
You're coming back here.
Yes.
You're
100%.
coming to Turn 5.
I missed the first time.
Yeah, you did. And we got better microphones and equipments now, and thanks to JST Motorsports.
Professional.
Anyway, again, thank you to everybody that came out to join us tonight on the JST Motorsports Bench Racing live shows. We appreciate every single one of you for joining us. We appreciate every one of our sponsors for letting us be able to do this.
Sponsors too.
We do. We'll give them a rundown here. Make sure we give them their props, because without them, we obviously would not be able to. Kaiser Racing Wheels, first and foremost. Wade's always been a big supporter of mine in everything I've done. Every team I've been with, he's helped support as much as he can. Hoagie's Garage, Abilene Powder Coating, Forge Construction, My Race Pass, T2 Promotions, Ryder Mac Racing, Flying A Motorsports, Horizon Whiskey, Hasty Baked Charcoal Grills, Perfect Turf, Lambert Property Service, Wheeler Metals. I put Hoagie's on there twice on accident. Hero Haven, and everybody else that just gives us a shout out and takes care of us. And again, we're going to do a giveaway of the CAP program. We're going to give away 2 CAP programs. We're going to figure out how we're going to do that. There'll probably be some sort of entry, whether it be buying a shirt. We might do a special shirt, or we might just say it's a $10 entry or whatever. But that way, at least gives you an opportunity to get some extra insurance. If you don't know what the CAP program is, what's the website?
CompetitiveAdvantageProgram.com.
There you go, CompetitiveAdvantageProgram.com. Go check that out. It is a newly designed and website by Ryan Race Pass.
Yes.
And so very easily navigatable, because I know how Josh and his team does. They're so good.
The website's amazing.
Yep.
It's really good. Informative, easy, obviously, to sign up. It's an easy process to get it, and it takes. And here's the thing with the CAP program, it's year to date. So if you sign up tomorrow, that program's good all the way through tomorrow and the next year.
Yep.
So it's good. Everybody needs it. It's just everybody should have it.
Yeah. And if you have more questions about it, please reach out to me or Shane, and we'll get you in the direction of the website, because the website obviously explains it better than we do. And you have all the information on there. It's really simple to sign up as well. Please go out to your local dirt track this week. We got Power Eye West Midgets here at Port City this weekend. I think we're going to have a few too. I think so. That'd be nice. Yeah. And then World of Outlaws again are at Knoxville. I think ASCS is fixing to hit it pretty hard too.
ASCS is at Creek on Friday.
Yes. Yeah. For the Bob Swope.
Yep.
Or for the Swope Memorial. So they're there, and they're fixing to hit some. I think they're fixing to have Speed Week too. Okay. June 27th and 28th, they are at at Tulsa for a 2-day show. So anyway, get out and enjoy your local dirt track, whether it's in Pennsylvania or Florida or California, Washington, wherever it may be. Without you going to a racetrack, it doesn't allow us to keep talking about racing things. And again, go to lumberlounge.com and show some love there. Bench racing stuff is on there. We got more stuff coming. We're going to do some more red, white, and blue. Nice. I'm going to work on a new hat.
Yep.
We're going to do anyway.
Cool.
We'll get that coming. Shane, thank you so much for
appreciate you
letting me interview you without you knowing. This will be up on the YouTube channel tomorrow. If you missed it or just caught the end of the show, you can always watch it here on Facebook. But please go to the YouTube channel. It's just at the Lumber Lounge and Garage. Subscribe, like, all those good things. We're trying to make it a big focus this year to get the YouTube channel up and going.
Yes.
We're also working on doing some more content for the YouTube channel. We might start a cooking show.
Nice.
Never know.
Nice. That's good.
Thanks to Hasty Baked Charcoal Grills, we might be able to make that work. And so a lot of cool things coming. We'll figure out who we got coming on next week. But until next week, have fun, be safe, enjoy the races, and be nice to your neighbor, or don't. I mean, it really doesn't matter to me.
If he's a good cook, be nice to him.
Oh, dude, be nice to the good cooks. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.